Land knows no color. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. The land doesn't mistreat anyone. Land is power. My name is John Boyd, a fourth generation farmer and founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. At the turn of the century, there were over 1 million black farm families. Today, there's about 45,000. When I look at agriculture and I only see white faces, I believe it's not a true tale of history, because that's why black people were brought to this country in the first place. We really contributed to the American fabric of agriculture. And here we are in the year 2020, absent. That's not what agriculture is, and that's not what farming is. We've been here, we've been doing the work. I'm an example of that. I've been farming a very, very long time, and I'm still farming, and I'm still facing the same issues. To a black man that's been spat on and called the N-word, and all of these things, that the treatment that I've received from the United States Department of Agriculture. That's some of the realism that I faced as a African American farmer, and I just thought it was me. And come to find out, we all had the same challenges with the United States Department of Agriculture and obtaining farm loans and other subsidies and things of that nature. Long story short, that caused us to form the National Black Farmers Association. We used a symbol of black people, which was a mule. So I named my pair of mules Struggle and 40 Acres, because blacks never received the 40 acres and a mule. And I rode my mule and wagon. I farm here to Washington, D.C., and it took me 17 days. And I did it to raise the visibility of the plight of black farmers and what was going on between the United States Department of Agriculture and black farmers. Slavery built a bitter taste in black America, where many blacks in the deep South said, when I grow up, I want to get as far away from the farm as I can and never come back. But I believe right now is a very opportune time for many blacks to return to the land, return to their roots, and stop looking at land ownership and the food issue as a bad thing because of our history, and start looking at land ownership as a positive tool. Many Americans look down on farmers. All of the things that are good and positive come from the farm. Everything that we need comes from the farm.
Okay. Thank you so much, John Boyd. Gary, introduce the folks that are on board.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Welcome to Speak the Truth on Sunday, June 27th, 2021. We have with us today Mr. Lawrence Lucas, who will be joining us speaking very shortly. We've got Jacques Chevalier. We've got our regular panelist, CJ. We've got Maggie Linton, who is our everything sports and current events, the Maggie Linton. We've got Sidney Davis. We've got Charles. Charles, I'm focusing on your name, last
Charles
name.
Hopkins.
Yes. And myself, I'm Gary Johnson. We've got Michael Jackson, the Selma District Attorney from Selma, Alabama. And waiting in the wings, we've got J.R. Perry. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Harold Bell, our NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists 2020 award winner for the Pioneer Award. Over to you, Harold Bell.
Thank you, Gary. First of all, I want to welcome our guest for the first 15 minutes, a brother that I've known all my life. We grew up together, went to high school together. He was an all metropolitan track and field star at Spingarn High School, and played on the football team with me. We got a lot in common, man. You know, this guy has been in the struggle for the United States Agricultural Department for well over 40 years. You know, he went to USDA as a presidential appointment with the Jimmy Carter administration to look into, of course, human rights and civil rights, 1977. And he has been there ever since. He's now the the President Emeritus of the Minority Coalition for the Agricultural Department Coalition. And this guy, when you talk about being in the struggle, and I'm saying that, you know, we have a lot in common because he's a native Washingtonian, and he's been out there, man. He's been in the field, and he ain't been just jiving. So I would like to welcome my dear friend, because last week there was some information put out on this show that nobody knew about the plight of the Black farmers. And as many of you know, Lawrence Lucas has been a frequent guest here on Speak the Truth. He's been away for several weeks, but he's been working. So without further ado, he's gonna bring us up to date. Lawrence Lucas, how you doing, Luke?
Hello, how you doing? To you, Hattie, and all of the people I see on the screen that have worked so hard in terms of trying to bring some justice and some civility to our legal system and justice system here in this country. I want to thank you again for having me on to kind of give you an update as to where we are. But I did want to first indicate to some of the individuals that may be listening to the show today and maybe later on, that the USDA Coalition of Minority Employees came together back in 1980, 94, 95, but we've been fighting for civil rights even before then. We were looking at the problems of civil rights and its institutional delivery of services and racist and biases to a group of people, mainly employees. But soon after that, I was introduced to this issue by John Boyd of the problems with Black farmers. And I have not had a silent or restless day since. What I want to do is kind of bring you all up to date in terms of where we were the last time I was on the show. We have a bill, and I think in terms of history, probably one of the most expensive bill to the taxpayers to settle the case of Black farmers who have been unjustly treated at USDA. The history goes back, and most people don't realize it. The Coalition of Minority Employees and the Justice for Black Farmer group, made up of rural as well as urban farmers, went to Elizabeth Warren, who was then running for president in 2019. And she had the impression that the reason why Black farmers have lost so much land over the decades was because of their property. We, in turn, sought to give her clarity. She opened the door, and we've had a working relationship with Elizabeth Warren ever since, because then she realized, and we educated her on the decades and decades of taking of the land and taking of the wealth from Black farmers, especially Black farmers. And I want to be very specific because we know the history of Black farmers, but we also know that other groups have been denied that right as well. Native Americans, of course, being so devastated in their treatment, as well as Hispanic, Asian, and other farmers. But we wanted to focus on Black farmers, and I must say that Elizabeth Warren did an excellent job of putting together what we would call a plan to fix USDA and its systemic racism once and for all. Since that time, we came to sit down and talk with the Biden administration transition team headed up by Tom Vilsack, who is now the Secretary of Agriculture at the present time. We had reservations about Tom Vilsack because of his history of dealing with Black people when he was governor in Iowa. And we also had the experience of his leadership as Secretary of Agriculture during the Obama administration. Now, some people get a little perturbed when we mention Obama and Vilsack and the lack of persistence on behalf of his administration to improve things for Black folks and farmers in this country. And I'm only going to deal with the systemic problem. And we're talking about changing the culture of a culture at USDA that has denied Black people, minorities, but especially Black farmers, the programs and services that they give to white farmers. And it's going to be very important to mention that the Justice for Black Farmer Act of 2021, we considered that the most important legislation since the Civil Rights Act of 1963-64. And also the Emergency Relief for Farmer Act of Color that was passed by Reverend Warnock in his bill in 2021. That bill has not millions of dollars in it, but it has billions, $5 billion for Black farmers. There's some things that we know now that we didn't know before. And one of those things is that we assume that Black farmers were getting a little more of the slice of the pie than we thought. But we found out that since we passed this bill, and I want to regress a little bit, we approached this knowing that Black farmers, because we know the history. We were told by the Biden-Vilsack administration during the transition that what we were asking for Black farmers, and we weren't dealing with all the rest of the minority groups because we don't know their history the way we know Black history, and how USDA took their land, how USDA denied them today of the wealth that we lost for 400 years because of slavery and the treatment of Black people in this country. They told us that what we were asking for in our demands for justice for Black farmers and the passage, which later brought about the passage of this bill, they told us that what we were asking for was unconstitutional. Now, let me tell you what they said was unconstitutional, passed in the Biden bill as the Emergency Relief and Farmer Act for Color. What you need to understand was that when the bill came out in 2021, it added people of color. On the other hand, they told us that it was illegal to ask for something for Black people. Some way that thing got a little skewed, and when the bill came out, it included all. But what it did was, in doing so, the politicians didn't really think about how this bill could be challenged in court. We have right now white supremacists challenges this case in court and denying Black farmers the ability to get the debt relief that this bill passed under the Biden administration. And I want to make it very clear that I think the Biden administration in its effort was doing a good job, but something got off the rail between his support of the Black farmers and where we are today. Now, what we have now is a bill that's before the Congress that has been passed, not before Congress, it has been passed, and it has $5 billion, not million now, to rescue Black farmers. But in our naivete and sometimes our lack of depth, and we're so busy trying to solve the problem, we forgot that Black people and Black farmers were constantly being denied loans that other farmers were getting, other minority farmers. And I'm talking about the rate of loans. But this is what we've got. We've got a bill that's worth $5 billion. And I want you all to be very clear in the understanding. This is perceived to be in America because there's articles coming out all around the country about the challenge and the moratorium to stop this bill, stop this debt relief being paid to Black farmers. Let me give you some very stunning figures, and I'm first going to say it in the beginning. Only 92% of Black farmers will benefit from this bill. 92%. Now, let me tell you who will benefit from it. 49% will go to Native Americans. 26% will go to Spanish Americans. 18% will go to Black Americans. And 7% will go to Asians. So the perception out there in America is that Black farmers are going to benefit and it's going to save Black farmers. I'm letting you know that the numbers that USDA give saying that there are only 36,000 Black farmers in this country. And by the way, their numbers don't jive, but we'll go with those numbers. So I want to call and let you know we're still in a struggle. We're trying to get, while this bill is being stalled, and it may even go to the Supreme Court, Harold, so we may have another Spotswood bowling situation here. But we're not concentrating on what the Justice Department and what USDA is going to do, because we have some feelings about the leadership under Vilsack. It may not get the justice that we want, but we're going to stay focused, and I'm going to bring you full circle. We're going to stay on USDA and the Biden administration to bring systematic change of the culture and the discrimination at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And we are not going to in no way step back from the fact that we're going to continue to demand that our position is that this bill was originally a Black farmer bill, and we want Black farmers to be compensated in the numbers that they should, because this bill started with them. And when you added other people of color, they did not do their homework and take a look at how this bill could be challenged in court. And I think that was a misstep as I see it. So what I'm saying to you is 92% of the Black farmers will not get assistance from this bill.
Okay. Yeah. Wrap it up, Luke. We got to. I want Luke to wrap this up, Sidney, so we can move on to our next guest, and then we'll take it from there, Sidney. Luke, wrap it up and tell us where you are now. Where are you now?
Where we are now is just what I just said. Harold, I'm done, and I thank you for having me on the show. I just want to leave you with one thing, that 92% of the Black farmers that are still farming will not benefit from this bill. And the media is saying this is a Black farmer bill, and I'm saying that it's not.
Okay, thank you, Luke. Thank you.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a new article out in Eating Well magazine. Let me get it here. In Eating Well magazine, and it features. It says a whole article. It's 2021 America Food Heroes, and listed in here is Shirley Sherrod. Anybody heard of her?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I bet you had. And what she's doing to try and re-empower the farmers, Black farmers in Georgia. My dad from Georgia, his dad was a sharecropper. So, there's part of that. But there's also a young man in Washington, D.C. who's doing, the food deserts that go on And his name is Chris Bradshaw. And both of them are featured in this July, August issue of Eating Well. And I highly recommend that you also know about this. And you may have, Lawrence, already, but
trust me, I know.
I bet you do. But it's there's a lot of good information in there. And again, I learned, because I love to learn, but there are people that are out there that are trying and are very quietly being heard. But you know, what happened in Georgia, all the land that was taken away from them and they had to reform was really crazy.
Okay. Let me add one point. This bill is not for institutions that support farmers. This bill and the money that's in this bill should go to Black farmers and not support other organizations that go to USDA and support USDA at the expense of Black farmers. Let me leave you with that thought.
Yeah, all right, thank you, Luke. Gary, let's take our musical break and bring back our special guest, Gary.
All right, let's hope this musical break works. I've been trying to work it and see we can get this going. Man, oh day. You know what? I had it, hot grits. We were going with some hot grits. we may have to have JR, and I know JR can work it without the music if he has. Oh, wait a minute, here it comes. I think, see if you can hear it. Let me see. All right. You know what? It's coming, it's kind of spotty, so let's not.
Okay.
Let's not waste the time. Let's get JR out here.
Let me bring my special guest in. Now, I'm going to be just scratching the surface as I introduce this talented brother, J.R. Perry III. At the age of 3 years old, he became interested in music. Before long, he was singing. It became apparent that he was born with a gift. He was encouraged to develop and strengthen his young voice. As he worked with his talented voice, it became clear that he had another talent, songwriting. At the age of 9 years old, he wrote his first song. It seemed that he was destined for success in the entertainment industry. As time went on, he continued his musical aspirations in many forms. He was an innovator of many musical groups throughout the 70s and 80s, not only leading and cultivating groups, but also performing. He excels as an instrumentalist. He plays the keyboard, the trombone, the bass guitar, as well as performs the task of drum programmer. He has developed many types of music productions, exhibiting his talent to sing the diverse music of genre spectrum from R&B, hip hop, pop, gospel, funk, and jazz. JR excels in areas of vocals where his 4.5 to 5 octave range is stressed. A year ago, he emailed me his music catalog, and I was blown away with his recordings. On top of that, his musical genius, he's a television talk show host, interviewing politicians, entertainers, pro athletes, and media personalities in and around Las Vegas. This is Black History Month music. So I wanted to go out the month with my dear friend, JR. JR, come on in here. JR Perry, is he out there? JR, take yourself off mute, I would guess. Can you see him, Gary?
Yeah, he's trying to get off mute, I think.
I wanted y'all so bad to hear his music, man. It would blow you away. I hear the tune out.
Hello, hey,
there
can
he
you
is.
see me?
There he is. We're gonna get that music on the site.
Okay.
He
All
sent
right.
it to me earlier. Hot grits.
Put your hands on for. We can't get to you from here.
I don't want y'all to see. Okay.
Come on, man.
You okay? You okay?
How y'all doing? How you doing?
JR, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, man, to be here. Of course, JR is from Motown. He's from Detroit. I'm talking about Motown music. That's what we want to talk about today, and the people that had influence on his life and some of the people that he admired. You take it from there, JR.
Thanks, Gerald. Thanks for letting me come on. Thanks, Gary. I go back with you guys. You guys are some good guys, and I appreciate y'all having me on your Screaming show. And yeah, we talking about soul music, Motown. I was privileged to be around the actual Detroit Motown, Berry Gordy, Smokey Robinson clan when I was a youngster. Growing up in Detroit, me and his nephews, Smokey's nephews, grew up together. And so they gave me an opportunity to see actually how they run the machine. It was it was very educational. And of course, it helped me to be who I am today because I had an opportunity to see how, they were brewing up the recipes and throwing the spices and stuff together. So it made it easy. But who knew that Motown would have such an impact to the whole world? Because you got to remember, all of us that's in America, we just thought Motown was just here, but we didn't know that it had arms that reached worldwide. So yeah, it was real good being a part of that. Even if I wasn't a part of that circle that I was around, it was just a good time to be alive, as all of us was, to experience that homegrown music coming out of Michigan, Detroit. So yeah, that did that. And as you know, it's still here today because when everybody refrains to old school music, they must pull out a Motown catalog. You see what I'm saying? When you speak of soul music, in the last 50 years, you got to think of Motown. So yeah, this is definitely to me a good tribute. I guess celebration they're giving to soul music, and Motown as well as Philadelphia should be definitely saluted. Definitely. I just see that as these young people are growing, they can't get away from Motown. They can't get away from the old school because it's a foundation and a structure that will never be replaced. All they'll be doing is embellishing it. But we all who've been here for, I guess, 30 years or longer, we know the difference. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, thanks for letting me come on and talk about that. You got any questions for me?
Yeah, JR, what about
Got some
tell
questions.
us about Berry Gordy? Where did he come from? All of a sudden, was he a Detroit native?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Berry Gordy, well, everybody that's in the state of Michigan, as well as the state of Illinois and the state of Ohio, all those states around the Great Lakes, their origins is all from the South.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Their origins all come out of the South. So when everybody left the South and they went north, they went to Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Minneapolis, things of that nature. But we all came out of the South, even the people from DC
Mm-hmm.
and Maryland. They all come out of the South.
Right.
Although some of them was actually born there because in DC, it was people like you and me who built the White House. You know what I'm saying? So they were already there. But back to Berry Gordy, he was born in Detroit. His father and mother were progressive people on the same lines as Black Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
Their people had that same business mannerism.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Okay,
So,
just got a question for JR.
Yeah, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
JR, it's good to see your historical perspective of Motown. Let me ask you this. Berry Gordy was affiliated with the Philadelphia sound.
mm-hmm.
And what my question is that there was never concentration on bridging Philly and Motown as it relates to youth camps. And I'm saying that had they concentrated, or if there was any conversation around youth camps to continue the spirit in which was present do you see that there would be a difference now as it relates to young people, because the resources were present to build those kind of bridges and apparatuses for continuation of that line of spirit and that kind of thinking and that kind of camaraderie. But Philly and Motown never merged, so there was never an opportunity to bridge the culture or to break down barriers and boundaries that would invade upon communities. So do you see that as right now, in a contemporary sense, had that thought been introduced or talked about, that we would have youth camps for young people around the horn?
Absolutely, bro. I think everything you hear, I think your question is so profound out of all the questions that people probably would ask me. And let me answer that. If Motown, and I'm being like a man on the sidewalk right now. If Motown in their heydays, and this is not my opinion, this is facts. If Motown in Philadelphia, I'm just going to mention them too. I'm not even going to go into Tennessee yet. But if Motown in Philly would have did exactly what you said, brother, we would be having generational wealth as we speak right now. Our children, which is 40 and 50 years old, would not have been lost. Those recreational centers, our own school systems, because they had the multitude of resources. So it was almost like they knew they could do better, but they chose not to. That was a choice. Because back in the 60s, you know, we always tend to go through crisis. So we went through the first crisis when they brought some of you guys over here. Most of us are from here. Okay. Some of you people who look like me was brought over here, and you wasn't even brought from Africa. You were brought from South America. So I want to clear up some things so that way people know why people who look like you and me don't think like you and me, because they're not us. They just look like us. And so what I mean by that, I'm gonna go back to what you're saying, because this shit is getting just out of hand, because you got people who were in positions such as the Motown and the Philly entities, but yet left 0, 9, nothing in the community. And they're gonna be convicted from that, because they had the resources to get the rec centers and all the other things that you could just possibly imagine. But what our people do, whether it be Motown, Philly, Tyler Perry, I don't care who it is, we don't ever put into commodities. Like that first guest you had on, I love him. You know why? Because that's our biggest commodity, food. So if Motown would have put farms up in Michigan, recreation centers, and if Philly would have did the same thing in Philadelphia, which would have spread over to DC, because you know they next door, then all our people would be self-contained. But what we like to do, we like to buy bells and whistles. We don't like to buy commodities. So Motown, shame on you. Philly, shame on you, because now your reign is over. You didn't buy one single commodity. You didn't do that thing for them babies. And I just want to know why. So my man's question is too powerful, because it would take me into a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? It would open up Pandora's box in me on that one simple question. How come Philadelphia and Motown did not merge together when they were collectively kicking boo-boo all over the world and basically never gave back to the community? They never gave, I mean, the rec centers ain't a commodity. That's why our children don't get killed in the street. And how come they didn't have trade centers? Because everybody that's here, that's in this chat, we had trade centers in school. Our grandchildren and children did not. So people like Motown, Philadelphia Sound, Soul Train, Oprah, y'all think about it. And I'm through with that one. But that's a good question.
Earl, got one more question, Earl. I want to, Brother Luke, with respect to the Black farmers, the Congressional Black Caucus does not have an agenda that focuses on the support of the economic security of Black farmers. And so if there's no agenda on the table from our congressional Black representatives, how do you expect for us to get something done around that bill 1005, 1006, 2021, that bill itself? Is the Black Caucus have an agenda to support your train of thought around making that happen?
Wow.
You have to unmute, Mr. Lucas.
I got it. Thank you for the question. And it's a good question. It ties in with the last person speaking. We went to very early in the game, especially during the Clinton administration. We went to the Black Caucus and we had support of the Black Caucus, which brought about the passage of Pickford 1, which is the most historical at the time, and a lot of money went into this. The taxpayers' money went into this to solve the problem. We went to the Black Caucus during the Obama administration because the similar thing was happening, but in our effort to get the Black Caucus to become engaged with dealing with the systemic problem at USDA, both the Black Caucus and the Obama administration were silent.
Wow. Wow. Good.
And that's one of the reasons why we have the bill that's passed by Reverend Senator Warnock that made it possible to deal with a problem that should have been solved during previous administrations. And I mean, I'm not leaving out Trump, and I'm not leaving out Obama, and I'm not leaving out Bush.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, can I well, go on, sis.
I was going to ask you, I hate referring to you as JR, but I should call you JR.
What you want to call me? What you want to call me, Mama? You want to call me Jonathan?
Okay, Jonathan.
Okay, because my mama don't want to call me JR. I don't know why y'all want to call me JR. Or do you want to call me what my grandmama called me, Johnny Ray? What you want, baby?
All right, Johnny Ray. Okay, Johnny Ray.
Okay. There you go.
Seemingly from listening to you, you're from the old school. When I said, let me explain what by old school. My brother was a musician, and he, like you, played. You named the instrument, he played it.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
It seemed to be that I'm 80 years old, by the way, so I'm not young.
No wonder. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You my mama and them age. Okay.
Right. But I've noticed that, and I'll be truthful with you, I was even considering whether I should even be on this conversation or not because of my views. But it seemed to me that the younger generation veered away from music, good music. The songs that were sung back in your day, they had meaning. You could understand the words. But now it seems that the musical groups seem to go out of their way to sexualize the music, to turn bitches and hoes and all the twerking and carrying on. It's like they're trying to perform, they're trying to see just how far they can get out there beyond boundaries and still be good. And as a result of that, I won't even listen to it. I mean, I refuse to, but I can still listen to your age. You know, it had words, it had meanings. the music was artful. You know, you could run the scales and, you know, do the chords and whatnot. It was real music, and that's what I consider Black music. Am I wrong, or what is?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. Can I finish for you?
Yes, please.
You got me so pumped up right now. Now,
Okay.
no, finish whatever you're gonna say.
He's
No,
listening for you,
it's in your
JR.
lap now. I'm finished. Go
Wait
ahead.
for you, JR. Come on.
Okay, now let me interject your wise observation, mama, because my mama your age. She just turned what, 88 in July. She's still looking good like you. So let me tell you something. And y'all listen up to me very carefully. I've been doing music since I was a puppy. I come from music. My mama and them did music. So when people hear me sing and play, it ain't no difference than another apple on a tree. I ain't nothing major. We all come from indigenous music. And what the evil music industry did to our grandbabies and our children, they did lascivious behavior wins. So they poisoned our children to do the opposite of everybody. Let me say, if you're 50 on back, you came from morality. So anybody 50 on down is sipping from the double soup to eat. So in order to eat, you got to do some blasphemy, lascivious, sinful things. So that answers the question to all my families. And they be like, well, why the music? Because it's evil. And I ain't trying to get all churchy, because I ain't a church person. I'm just a spiritual person. He who controls the music business is the same person that got kicked out of the place called heaven. So with that being said, I'm from Detroit. I'm in Vegas. You think I'm gonna stop doing music?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Mhm.
Anybody else out there?
Do you see any way of us coming out of this now? Because we do have some gifted young people, but if they feel they have to eat at the trough of lasciviousness and sexuality, they're not, some of them are gonna fall by the wayside.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's back to what I was talking about with Motown in Philly and all our power brokers that's in a position. It's our freaking fault, yo, because for instance, I come from farmers on both sides. You feel me? And my people still got their farms. Okay. So my people have always been feeding our family. You know, we get them little gift packets in the mail from all over the country because we got the farms. So what it is that the people who was in the position, such as the Berry Gordys, I'm not putting this all on Barry. I'm not putting this all on one. I'm putting it all on all the people who did better, didn't do better. They did better for themselves, but they didn't bring it back into the community. We don't even know how to say unity in the community. I bet that'll twist your tongue because you've never seen it. So therefore, I'm a little country, got a little Louisiana in me too. So I might dip her off in the country mode because I was reared by my grandmamas with the S on the end, and they come from Louisiana. You feeling what I'm saying? And my people sit on like 25,000 acres as we speak right here now, and I look at that as a young man, and I see that my people was always growing and giving. So let me take that to the music industry. The music industry and my people, we've always contributed to Esau. That's who y'all call the white man. We've always contributed to him. He always used us for our gifts and talents. So now when it came to our children, which is the people out there now, people like Berry Gordy, Clarence Avon, all these different people, these brothers, these pioneers who I love them all to death. They did everything. They just forgot about us. So let me say this to you. Like Big Mama and them say, Don't take wood nickels, boy.
Mhm.
Don't take stuff from strangers. And if you can't do it yourself, figure it out. And that's what happened to us. So we decided to sell our souls for the gold.
Mhm.
So that's why you sitting here at 80 years old and my mama 88, y'all scratching y'all's head. But I ain't gonna let y'all down. Y'all go look, Google J.R. Perry's music. Y'all got some gospel for you. I got a song called Old School that we talking about right now because I done wrote a song about it.
Okay.
And you gonna love that one.
All right. I'm gonna Google you.
Yeah, just Google J.R. Perry's music. That's all.
All right.
And you'll and I will fulfill your musical nutritional palate.
Thank you. I'm a musician too, so I do have interest.
Yeah, well, I feed musicians every day on Facebook. All my people on Facebook are platinum producers and writers. I still give them nutrition.
Okay. Thank you.
But yes, because we all need to be fed some of this good music because this radio, they putting these kids on here. We would cuss secretly. Remember?
Yes.
Huh?
Couldn't say lie till you were 30.
If I would even begin to cuss anywhere near my mama or grandmamas or my like 12 aunts, I'd be beat down at 30.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmama was whooping her son. She was 18 of them. She was whooping them at 49, 50 with the extension cord, baby. I seen it. She didn't stop. So I come from consistency. So nothing stops just because you get older. And I tell these young kids, your brain don't develop until you're 20 and 5. The human brain don't even develop until it's 25. So how in the heck you out here at 17, 18, cussing and talking about stuff that you ain't even never experienced just to get the bag? So what you did, you put poison in the atmosphere. My degree's in psychology. But I tell people words are worse than getting hit in the mouth. I'd rather hit me in my mouth than be hit me with them words. Because see, you hit me in my mouth, guess what? It can heal. But when you hit me with them words, they're in my subconscious mind. That's like my hard drive is there forever. So the devil made sure the 1990 music people, because that's when it started, baby. They wasn't doing that in the 80s. In 1990, I can tell you the day they started because I was there. It was 1990, around February. The Hoochie Mamas came out in the video, what we used to call hot pants. You remember them days?
Oh, yeah.
They call them hoochie dresses. I don't know what they call them. But, that women used to do that secretly, remember? They brought that to the camera. Then they brought cussing and fussing. And now they beefing. You know what that's called, sister? A distraction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what they use our children, because the Bible said the children will be wiser. So they intercept their wisdom because they, the evil force always want to compete against Most High. So he took what would have been only if the Motown billionaire Black people would have came back like the brothers did in Black Wall Street, because they came back. They were like, nah. When they made us walk from Louisiana to Oklahoma, they called the Trails of Tears. And people, for some reason, think that Native Americans, which is a stupid word, is somebody else. Negro, the Native American is you. Look at me, ma'am. Do I look like I'm from Africa? Look at my hair. Look at my skin. Look at your cheeks and my cheeks. We the same. Do you look African?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong with us, baby. What's wrong with us?
JR, let me say, JR, a lot of people really are not aware of how Berry Gordy got from Detroit to LA.
Oh.
And this goes back to what you're saying about how selfish we are as a people, Why Kenneth Gamble couldn't get together with Berry Gordy and form that group that really could have been generation wealth forever. Berry Gordy was so busy in Las Vegas and other places losing millions of dollars at the crap table and became indebted to the big boys. And that's why he ended up in LA. That's why they got out of Detroit, because the big boys brought him out. He owed so much money. He had operation to LA. A lot of people are not even aware of that, man.
Well, no, they don't know that, and it ain't their business to know that, because you gotta understand, just like you run your machine, your Kool-Aid stand, nobody don't know your business like you run your house, nobody know your business. He ain't responsible for all of us, but what he is responsible for is, let me explain something to you, Brother Heather. You got money from these Negroes. You got money from white people too, because white people bought a lot of Motown. So what you should have done, I love people being selfish. Be selfish, but with the white money that you got, you should have put it back in the Black community. If you want to take JR's dollar and go gamble, but shame on you. But when you got that white man's money, you should have took his money and put it back in our community, my brothers. And when you got our money, you should have put it back, because that ain't your damn money. That's our money, and we gave it to you because we supported shit. And so if you are so selfish, and I just want everybody, and I don't care if you my mama, I'm gonna say this, because you see the big boy of what you didn't do. So by people having a multitude of money, going back to what you saying, Brother Harold, he left Detroit not by choice.
That's right.
True. They came to Los Angeles in the 70s. I was there, right there on Vine and I forget the cross street, Sunset and Vine. It was on Sunset and Vine, and they were in the Motown business, building, and there was a lot of people who didn't look like us working there.
Barry talks about a lot of, JR, Barry hints about some of that in his autobiography, but he doesn't go into the specifics.
Well, who would?
Yeah, exactly.
In other words, I'm going to write my book. Remember I told you, Gary, I'm going to write a book called I Was a Fly on the Wall of Motown.
Yes.
If I told you that.
Yes.
But I am going to write mine. And Barry, Smokey, nobody can stop me. You know why? I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. See, it's not like if I gave you the story, you wasn't there. So there's certain things you can't say. But if you were actually living it in real time, you could legally talk about it. Now, am I going to talk about everything kinky and ugly? No, I'll never do that anyway. But I will talk about how we lost our economical grip, how we lost our what you call recycle of money. I could tell why they did it. Brother Harold already mentioned it. I ain't got to talk about it. He already said it. I ain't gonna say no more, because everything you just said, Harold.
Real deal.
No, listen. Everything you just said, it ain't new. People just don't and wouldn't and shall not and have not talked about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So the fact that you said it, and all I could do is say, yes, I agree. And I kept saying yes, without expounding. Because sometimes Daddy told me say a little, it mean a lot.
Yeah.
So JR, is there a possibility of resurrecting that spirit?
Yeah, you know what my plan is? What Brother Luke is. I'm standing by Brother Luke. You know why? Listen to this, and I'm gonna be totally quiet. I won't say nothing else unless y'all want me to. Hell with this music. Hell with TV. The only person that's important to me is people like that Brother Luke. I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because I got so many rich people in my family make your nose bleed. They selfish as hell. But they can't afford food. You buy your food from your enemy, Negro. Let me get real. I don't know if y'all know, I used to be a television personality, radio personality, but I was a little bit more mannerable. I wasn't talking like my big mama say, mannish like I'm talking now. But I'm mad. And only person in this whole entire world, the kind of people that's important to me are farmers. I don't give a shit about Barry Gordy, me, even me. I don't give a shit about my talent. I only care about after I get through singing and playing, I'm gonna be hungry. And I can't feed my damn self. I gotta go to the same stomach food to eat some god doggone food. And then the food he giving me is GMO. Every bit of it. From the fish to the apple. Because the apple ain't supposed to be looking all that pretty now. I tell people, how are we gonna get it, brother? To your question, is that we stand behind Brother Luke, so that way we can feed ourselves. Because if we can feed ourselves, then that right there is survival of the fittest. If we can feed and drink, they can't touch us.
Mr.
Because
Lucas
guess
wants
what?
to respond. Mr. Lucas wants to get it. Lucas wants to get in there.
Well, he don't have to, because he did enough. I'm getting ready to fight for him. You ain't got to say one word.
I have one question for you. It's a short one. Write us a song.
Got it.
Thank you.
Good.
He can do it too. Yes, he can.
Already got it.
You
I'm
already
gonna
That's
shoot
a
it to
song.
you. I'm gonna shoot it to you.
Okay.
So the thing is that, Mr. Lucas, let me say this to you. I want everybody to listen to this real quickly. Cause I know y'all busy. You only got so many minutes. Mr. Lucas, let me see Mr. Lucas, please.
There he is.
I'm
He's
here.
up there.
Thank you. Mr. Lucas, my name is J.R. Perry III. My government name is Jonathan R. Perry III. My people country, they call me Johnny Ray. My name professionally is J.R. Perry. My foremother, look at me, sir, was Pocahontas. I'm indigenous to Mesoamerica. We are all Native Americans. I just got my docs. See, when they came over here, they took the northern people and took them south, and the south people north. That's why we knew how to grow. We couldn't have came from Africa, Uncle Luke, knowing how to grow corn. We couldn't have came from Africa, Uncle Luke, knowing how to grow any damn thing on this soil. So I want y'all to know y'all been punked. Y'all ain't no damn two continents. On your birth certificate, Uncle Luke, I guarantee you it say color. And why your grandbaby say African American, Uncle Luke? Why we gotta always have our nationality changed every 30 years? Because that's a trademark patent expiration. Uncle Luke, I'm the Minister of Agriculture with Washita, D.W. Munda. Now, that was then. Now I'm the medicine man of the Uri tribe. Write down E-R-I-E, Uri tribe, mound builders. E-R-I-E, Uri, Pennsylvania. We are the mound builders. Mr. Luke, I'm gonna work with you. Anywhere there's a mound in the world is our land. Mr. Luke, I was working with the same people you was talking about here in Las Vegas, because I do hydroponic farming.
Ooh.
I'm heavy, Mr. Luke. I do hydroponic and I do aquaculture. Okay. I know people who can make water out of the air, sir. We can do it straight in the desert without any water. They scared of me, Mr. Lou. Everything you said, I experienced, because they were saying, and they was fighting this one Caucasian man who worked for the FDA or whatever it was, not the FDA, but the agriculture entity. He was like, well, you know, you black people, you can do the rule and we got money and boom, boom. And he was telling me this is 10 years ago, sir. And he was really trying to help me though, but they fired him.
That's right.
Because he gave me all the secrets. He turned me on to all the other directors of agriculture for the government. They hate us because we fed their ass. We taught them how to grow. So I want y'all to know this. You ain't from Africa. You couldn't have came from Africa to learn how to grow corn, for one. Corn only grows over here. Okay? And all the other things like, what is that, my people, squash. They, you know, they come from the Caucasus Mountains, where it's only winter like maybe 2 days out of the damn year. So what the hell they know about farming? We taught them that. So therefore, that number that you said, brother, 92% of the farmers ain't gonna get no money. 92% of our people got enslaved. They love 92, I don't know why. 92% of our people got enslaved, and the other 8% of my family, they couldn't touch us. Because you know why? We whooped their butts and sent them somewhere running. And they like, well, shoot, we got 92. We can't get everybody. So I'm trying to tell brothers, we get ready to get this food thing going. Because once we get this food, because I'm going to tell you right now, they getting ready to shut down the food before the winter hits. Right now, chicken wings, you can't get them nowhere in America. Okay? They paid black farmers to stop farming.
That's right.
And they took their land. Let me tell you something, sir. When the Edomites, that's who they are. My father always told me to pronounce people's names and things correctly. And all you people who go to church, it's in the Bible. That's his nationality.
Yeah, it's in there.
He's not Caucasian. He's not white. He's Esau's descendant, Edomites. So when you tell him who he is, he gonna have a heart attack that you know. Okay? And we ain't colored niggers or white and all that. That's why we can't get nothing, because we calling ourselves a pickle when we're humans. And I'm trying to correct, it got to start with the language. If you language who you are, what you want, you'll get it. But what I'm going to say this, I'm going to let this go. I want to get your number. You're going to go into the indigenous peoples of Mesoamerica with me. You're speaking to the medicine man. That's why I said, Google the Erie mound builders. We're on Wikipedia. Everything that we want to know, sir, is in a book in our face. And because we got the Democrats who are our slave owners, let's talk about this. We love our master so much. Our abuser, we love him. But I want to ask all y'all peoples, starting from my grandmama's generation, what they ever do for you? Just sit back and ask yourself. Because, you know, us niggas, we love to party. You party for them, what they ever do for you? What Obama came in to bring in homosexuality. What did he do for the farmers?
Nothing.
So that's what this is about, y'all. I understand people like to talk about what I call air talk. I talk substance, I talk real, and music is always a part of my life. My grandfather was a musician. All my grandfathers were musicians, but they were farmers first. Okay?
Okay, JR, we gotta get out of here, man. I want to take time out, man, to give kudos to Selma District Attorney Michael Jackson. He was named the first African American of the Alabama District Attorney Association. Congratulations, Michael.
Congratulations.
Say something. How you feel about that?
Yeah, they just named me the president, the first African American. It's a good feeling. Hopefully it'll go well. It's a year term. So I just got named that last Wednesday. But I did want to, I used to work on that Pittsburgh first case with those $50,000 packages going around the South, filling those out for Black farmers. And I want to ask Mr. Lucas his question about what's his opinion on why young people want to give away their land when they're air property or anything, they just want to give it away. And when I say give it away, they'll sell it super cheap. They'll put it at an auction. They just don't want to be bothered with it when the whole show is talking about the importance of land. But the younger generation with Black just don't seem to understand that. They want to be in the city.
Well, my answer to your question is, Pickford 2 dealt with $50,000. Pickford 1 dealt with the real farmers. A lot of the people that got paid in Pickford 2 were not real farmers. When, in the case of Pickford 1 was the real farmers. The farmers that we're fighting for to keep the land today are the real farmers. We had the Wise family, Mr. Farmer Wise just passed away, and it pains me to no end that we still have to fight our government without getting the support from our Black leaders, our politicians, and our organizations that have allowed this to go on, knowing that it's going on. So part of the blame is us.
All right. Okay, Charles Hopkins, come in. I want to congratulate you, man, on graduating from Georgetown. Tell us about that, Charles, and how you feel about what you just accomplished.
Oh, I feel great about that. Georgetown, it's called Pivot Program. It's designed around McDonald's School of Business, which is a reputable entity in Georgetown, and they teach you entrepreneur skills. This Wednesday we graduate, and I'm looking forward to move forward. I'm emboldened by Brother Lucas in terms of like the Black Farm. We know that this is what we did. We grew, and I'm emboldened by his attitude. I'm emboldened by the brother JR was saying about his perspective, right? So I'm emboldened, and I thank you, Earl, for the show. This is a remarkable show we had today. We're talking about economic power.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, if I get an apple and an orange from the farmers that Brother Lucas represent, then I know I'm getting some nutritional food. If I go in the supermarket and get some Gino, then I expect to grow another elbow.
CJ, I want to bring CJ in because I really wanted to bring my man JR, because I wanted CJ to hear some of his music, and I want CJ to hook up with JR, because CJ is a young musician, got his own band and everything, and I'm quite sure you could give him some pointers, because that catalog of music that you got, man, is just over the top. So CJ, come in and say something. I know I hope you're still out there. CJ?
Yeah, I've been here. I've just been taking in all the information.
Oh, okay. This little handsome young man. I've been seeing, hold up.
Well,
I know your daddy.
A lot of people know
I've been watching
apparently.
y'all. I knew you was a musician. You look like one of my nephews. What you do, young man? What you do?
I play guitar mostly, but yeah, I love to play guitar. I play all over the place. But in terms of like the insight of, I've heard a lot of people asking about young people what they think without consulting the probably only millennial on the panel in terms of music, the direction it's taken,
Right.
how it's been more dumbed down and simplified, and a lot of it was touched on before. A lot of it is the industry. The industry, the white people who own or is in charge of the industry, they pick the winners and losers. They pick who's going to be on the radio, who is going to be exposed, who's going to be, you know, hot. And people are chasing the dollar, as was also stated before. People are making that type of music because that's what's selling. Those are what the hot artists that they see were making top 40, top 100. So they're trying to replicate that success because they're looking for that monetary value in their music rather than for the craft of it. And also technology improving. Saying I'm a person who plays guitar, like I just said, and I play instruments in a more traditional way, like a little bit of keyboard, a little bit of drums, a little bit of bass. For me to make a project without being on the music production side, the way software has developed, you don't need a whole team of people and you don't need to learn how to play 6 instruments to compose a song now. You just have to be good at the software and being able to do that. So a lot of people have moved on to that rather than, you know, like Motown and all the great musicianship and all the sounds and compositions. It's a lot simpler because that is a really expensive to make on your own budget when, you know, the industry has moved in a way where you're getting like 4 cents every time your song is streamed when you're trying to make it here as an independent artist, when you're not backed by a major label. So those are some of the factors that have moved the music direction more to like the Cardi B's and the stuff that, you know, see is more, you know, since the 90s was touched on before with gangster rap, the rise of that. And the industry is basically picking winners and losers. So it's not like young people aren't making good music anymore in the vein of Motown or in that spirit. It's just those aren't the people that the industry is
They're
elevating.
picking. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me get you, boy. You're highly intelligent. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, brother. Let me explain to you. A lot of brothers your age don't know what you're saying. That's why I asked you that. You have everything you said is 100. But let me tell you something though. Stay on your guitar, because let me explain to you about music, my little brother. Music is rhythm that comes from your fingers and mind. When they brought in the sequencers, you weren't born then, and they brought in the MP3 and the DD1 and all the computer software, they killed the music. Let me tell you why. Because the musicians from the old school that you millennials hear, reason why their music lasts through the test of time, because just like a carpenter, they actually touched it and built it. Do you understand? See these hands? These hands play guitar, bass, keys. I make the sounds. They come from here to here. But when you click, copy, and paste, it's like a GMO, my brother. It ain't organic. So anything too easy has never been right. Anything that you don't use your mind, energy, sweat from the brow of your forehead to do will never be right. So if they put that 30, 40 years ago, they took music instruments out of the schools for your children. Anyway, because your fathers was musicians and they wanted y'all to sample, copy, paste, and all that old stupid stuff. But let me tell you about that. That only has a lifespan for us humans so long. That's why they're in and out. The music is just sort of like you ever seen some cheese that don't melt? It's that. They'll get paid, but it won't have what you call long-going residual catalog, residuals like songs back in the old school. And because I'm trying to tell you young folks, stay on your instruments. Ain't nothing wrong with you using the computer. But the thing is my whole thing from being here on this earth and seeing the transition from analog to digital You guys in the digital stage. That music is beautiful depending on what you're writing. But like you said, the ones that they're selecting are the ones that are pulling down the spirit of our people. Now, I bet if they heard your music, they don't want your music if it's good. They want lascivious music that you can simply do. Let me explain this to y'all, and I'm gonna really stop. They made it cheap so they can pay you cheap. Because they like, nigga, all you doing is using a sample. You stole JR's bass line. The hell you want some money for? We'll give you some fame, some gold in your mouth, and some hoochie women, and some drugs. Because you stealing James Brown's music. So that's the difference.
Okay, let's move on. We got Sidney. Take 1 minute, Sidney.
Well, I want to just thank JR for all the historical analysis, Brother Lucas for his inputs, and I trust that we will be able to continue to connect to just push and drive and force the situation as they took it from us. We must take it back.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Let me see who else we got out there. Oh yeah, Dr. Fisher, come on in for a minute, baby. Come on, close it out, Dr. Fisher. Dr. Fisher, where are you?
She's having trouble getting off mute.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's having trouble.
Okay. Well, Gary, what can we do?
Well, here's what we can, unless anyone else has something going on, I will tell you that I've done work with JR over the last, I don't know, 10, maybe longer years. And so I'll pull up some of the early stuff and his hot grits, and I'll make sure we get it on the site. So you can get his stuff. And
that's my man, Black Men in America, baby. Real.
Some of our previous stuff, we'll get it up on the site first thing in the morning and maybe by midnight tonight.
Oh man, I got about 70,000 people on LinkedIn. They're gonna love it. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So, yeah.
I have some reports to make. I called Senator Benson's office about the letter you gave me.
Okay.
Davis, I called and waiting for a call back. I contacted Bite Back. Where is he? There you are, Mr. Charles, Brother Charles, 3 times. So there's nobody in the office right now. So I don't have an email for them. I didn't find one on the internet, but I have been trying to get in touch with them. I spoke with Mr. Lucas, Mr. Wright, Lord Wright, and I'm sending him some material, and he's going to work with me for the Black Farmers with that CAP board. Okay. What else I do? Did a few more things, but I'm working on it. Been in contact with Mr. Morgan, and we are believing for some action. And I want you to know, Brother Lucas, I'm all in with you with the Black Farmers. I'm learning all that I can, praying for you all, and it's just the perfect example. It's the epitome of racism, and we've got to fight it. So continue to pray for me, and I'll continue on the projects.
Thank you. John, you still out there? I know it's been quiet, and I just want to thank you, man, for a great tribute to your cookout yesterday to the musicians in Washington, D.C. You paid tribute to them. Thank you and Carol, man. You did a fantastic thing yesterday, man. It was just, it was like a great homecoming, and everybody enjoyed themselves. Gary, do you have that thank you note that those kids sent me? Did you get a chance to crop that and put it up?
Let's see here. Is that the note or is that the picture?
The picture. It's the picture. The note is in the picture. Everything is in the picture.
Oh, is that the one I cropped?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I had another one that I thought was it.
Well, let me explain to what I'm talking about to them. If you find it, you can put it up.
Yeah.
On yesterday, somebody brought to my attention that there was a note on Facebook to me from 2 young people. Those of you who have followed me over the years and understand that I've done Christmas toy parties for 45 straight years, my wife and I, for needy children, starting in 1968. So 1970 Harold McClinton of the Washington Redskins. I held my Christmas toy party at the Twin Bridges Marriott over at 14th Street Bridge. Some of y'all too young to remember that, but we had all the Redskins come out. And I had these two little kids from the U Street corridor. They were out. So these two little kids, this must have been 1970 or 71. We took a picture with one of them on my knee and one on Harold McClinton's knee. And that picture I had been using for like 45, 50 years. Every time I do a Christmas toy party, there's these two little kids. And I would see their big sister at the Wizards game because she worked as an usher. And I would see Joanne and I hug. I said, "How are the twins doing, Joanne?" She said, "Oh, Mr. Bell, they doing fine. They doing fine." I hadn't seen these kids or talked to these kids in over 50 years. Yesterday, they put up a Facebook thing thanking me for being the king of sports and for stepping in and mentoring them at a young age. They are now grown-ups, man. It blew me away because they had the picture of them with Santa Claus, with Harold McClinton, and they had a picture of them where they're now grown. So that kind of blew me away, and I wanted you guys to see it, but Gary probably didn't get it up on time, but I will send it out in an email. So it's never too late to say thank you. That's what they did. Right. That's what I got out of that. Never too late to say thank you.
And I'll get that picture up when we edit the show. I'll have it up so everybody can see it when they click to watch the show.
Yeah. This has been a great show, man. It really has so much information, JR. Thank you so much, man. And all of us learned something from Luke. Luke keeps teaching us every time that he comes on here. That's why I wanted to bring him on today to give us an update. And really, I wanted JR to hook up with CJ because I think, the young and the old, they can learn from each other. So like I always say, man, thanks again, guy. Yeah. Somebody trying to say something?
That's what you call keeping the bread fresh.
That's right. Keeping the bread fresh. Hey, gang, I just want to go out here by saying, hey, that every black face you see is not your brother and every white face is not your enemy. And until next time, I'm Harold Bell, and you can color me gone.
All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Harold Bell. My wife Hattie and I founded a nonprofit organization in 1968, shortly after the riots that almost destroyed my hometown, Washington, D.C. The program caters to the needs of at-risk children as it relates to social services such as education, law enforcement, drug abuse, gang-related violence, and other antisocial behavior.